I love my wife and I love my family. So, it's my goal to make sure that I'm I'm present when I'm present, you know, that my mind is there even when my body's there. I don't know if you remember that movie Click,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh man.
he was he was on autopilot because it got used to fast forwarding through the parts of his life that he didn't want to be in,
Yeah.
and so all of those years he missed because he was on autopilot in the room but not really in the room,
Yeah.
and so I want to make sure that that's not me,
Yeah.
you know.
It's crazy you even brought up that movie. That actually changed the way when I saw it when it came out.
Yep.
That changed the way that I looked at like family stuff and
Yeah.
like my kids growing up and all of this. Oh, because it really was something I took for granted.
Yeah.
That like that. I think I watched it. Well, the first time I saw it, it was I was by myself, so I let a couple tears drop.
Yeah.
We like no real talk.
But
But but yeah, man, that is so important to be to be present. And I mean, again, trying to balance all of that, it can't be easy.
no.
But having the mind that you have, what I mean, like it's good to be able to have because because that you're striving forward to be better.
Yeah.
That what I'm saying. Who knows what that looks like because every day is different.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so today it could be up. You know what I mean? Like tomorrow, maybe the best that you can do is just put my phone down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so um, that's really good, man. That's really good. Like, what I wanted to ask you, what is your journey taught you about? This is a good question in conjunction with that other one. What is your journey taught you about leading at home versus leading at church?
um I guess my leadership at home and my leadership at church are two completely different things. Like at the church, I'm not super playful. At home, I am very playful. Like get under my kids' skin, playful. Like push every last one of their buttons. And be laughing to the point where it's like, and then they get upset, and I'm like, hey, remember, I'm your daddy now. Get mad at them because they don't want to play no more. But and I think that they don't know how to distinguish between the two all the time.
Mm,
I had my son was working with me this past week, and I had a conversation with him. You know, because he's our church drummer. I asked him. I said, like, I said, hey, I just wanted to have a conversation with you. Do you feel like you do enough as it pertains to the church? Like, because my question, like, look, you're a member of the church, but you're also a drummer. Um, do you feel like you playing the drums is enough? And it got him to thinking. Like, I know that he like, yeah, I know that, play the drums, and he plays the drums for another service before our service also.
mhm,
And so my other kids pick up the slack. They pretty much just do whatever we ask, and they don't have an attitude about it for the most part, most of the time. And you know, it just got him to thinking, but I told him at the end of it, because it was a very good conversation, and I said, look, I just wanted to have a conversation with you rather than yell at you or be upset because of what I perceive. Because at the end of the day, I didn't think his mind was where it was. You know, I felt like he thought, he just did enough, and he should be able to sit down when he get done playing the drums. But that's not where his mind was.
mm,
He said, "I feel like after service, I want to be able to practice as much as I can because I don't have any other opportunities." That's where his mind was. That's not where I thought his mind was, and so
mm,
whereas at home, I don't ask a whole bunch of questions. I just go off. When it's time to go off, or like I said, I do a whole lot of joking around. It's either one or the other. But as a pastor, I think that you know asking questions and really trying to get an understanding and not making people feel like you don't want them there,
Yeah.
you know, and really trying to see people's heart on different things, I believe is where home differs from the church, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and even on what you were saying, it's just it's super important to be able to have a conversation like that and be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
Like, yo, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's like, yo, okay, well, my bad. You know what? Because like kids get older and like what I mean, you don't know. We're like
yeah.
and so let me ask you, how has how is your wife uh influenced, or like how has she helped to be able to strengthen your walk with the Lord?
So one thing about my wife, people see her and might think that she's, quiet or soft spoken, but she will she will tell you about yourself. And so if she doesn't feel like I'm, or she feels like I've, fallen a little bit too far away, you
Mhm,
know, she feels like, maybe I've become a bit distant with things. She's going to tell me, you know, and so, and at the end of the day, I don't ever do things to please anybody. I want what I do for the Lord to please the Lord. And so, like I told you, when she tells me stuff, I think about it
mhm,
because now she's comfortable telling me things, even when she's uncomfortable telling me things. You know, she'll tell me. So I'll think about it and I'm like, okay, what what can I do differently? Like how can I change this around? And so, she's and then she's full of ideas, and I just I wish I would um uh take her ideas more seriously at the time when she's telling, sometimes I'm like, well, not right now, but
mm,
she really has very good ideas. I know this isn't necessarily part of the question, but I just had to say that, she's 9 times out of 10, like when she's saying something to me, she's on target. And so that's why
mm,
it causes me um it causes me to think about it. Side note, don't ever tell your wives that, she's always right when she says something. Cause you you can't take it back once you said it, you know. But I thank the Lord for my wife because, for the most part, like she says something, she's right about it. I'm just telling the truth,
yeah.
And
Well,
so yeah.
listen, well, you have to worry about me telling my wife that that she's right all the time because I'm not married. Praise God. So I thought I could get through with a straight face. I couldn't do it. Oh, God has been good to me. Oh, all right, all right. And I'm not taking this out. So, but, um,